Thank you for inviting me. I was just telling one Aida earlier. I said this brings me back 20 years ago when I, first speak in front of, in a lecture hall, and I'm feeling nervous back then, and then this brings back that memories again. So hopefully, okay. My team member actually prepared quite a fabulous speech for me. When we talk about this, when I look at it, it's just a bit too overwhelming. So bear with me. I'm not going to look at it. I try my best not to look at it. And then in some shows now, thank you for advocating climate change. You spoke some of the things that I wanted to speak about. So now I have to, reroute a little bit, right? So, but first, the question I want to ask everyone is, what do you think doctors and bankers have in common? Well, very noble, huh? Money? No. We all have very big hearts, right? We all have very big hearts, okay? So, the thing is, when I stand here, then you will say that, what does a bank has to do with healing, right? Most of the time, in a typical context, when we talk about healing, we talk about diagnosis, we talk about prescription, we talk about treatment of the individuals, right? But I think when we talk about the scope of health, is really beyond just the human body, right? What if the system that shapes our economy and the environment, the very model that we use for consumption and resources, are the source of the profound illness? Okay. Go. Yeah. So just want to share some stories. Just a couple of months ago, I took up this office 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And 3 years ago, I didn't know what is sustainability. I'm a pure finance guy. Yes, I count money, I do a lot of due diligence. But then I was asked to take up this role as a CSO of the bank. Then I learned about climate change. I learned about all the net zeros. I learned about plastics. So I'm going to talk a bit more about plastics. Just a few months ago, my team, we organized a screening of a documentary. It's called Bag It, Is Your Life Too Plastic? It's an old documentary. It talks about the life of this gentleman who vows to go plastic-free for 1 year. And he was expecting a child as well, right? So throughout that 1 year, the whole journey, what he did was he went ahead and he go and dig deeper into how plastic was made, what are the manufacturing processes of plastics, and ultimately, where does that end up, right? And it unveils a very startling reality, right? That it is a very start of a profound human health illness, okay? So, just now in some shows talk about landfill, right? So yeah, did you know that on average, I didn't make this up, this is what I found on net anyway, and I've saw some of the NGOs who corroborated with the facts, that on average, we produce about 39,000 tons of waste daily. On average, per person here, we generate about 1 to 1.2 kg of waste daily. So when this number pops up, then I was telling my team, I said, how did I end up, generating 1.2 kg of waste? I count left and right, okay, probably it's due to the fruits that I eat, then you count that just 100 grams there, you go tap out the food, wherever leftover food, that's another few hundred grams. You add up all that, yeah, you probably reach a kg or two. So when we talk about a bigger number, we talk about Malaysia, it actually contributes about 1.1 million tons of post-consumer plastics waste every year, okay? And factors that drives this kind of waste generation is mainly, population growth, urbanization, economic growth, and of course, the change in lifestyle as well for all of us, right? And these are the key drivers that led to waste being generated. And compounded by the fact that we have limited resource or capacity to manage this waste. I'm talking about Malaysia, right? Facilities-wise, we don't have a lot. A lot of it is already reaching the maximum capacity, right? Coupled with the, the management of this waste, which can be hazardous and can be very economical, not viable, makes it even harder. And that's why we are the top 10 countries in the world of measure of mismanaged waste, right? Because just over 30% of our waste in this country are recycled. Okay? So next, I think with those that is recycled about over 30%, so I think just Samso also mentioned, what happens to those plastics that remains? It won't go away, right? Those that lands up in the landfill would not go away. It would break down into insidious particles, like what you mentioned, microplastics, okay? And these microplastics are then consumed by, animals across the world, right? It is found in the ocean, it is found in the soil, which ultimately flows into our food stream and then into our body. And most recent findings says that even umbilical cord and brain tissue found traces of microplastics. Okay, I'm not sure how true is that. So I'll let that to the medical professionals, right? And to make it worse, I'm sounding like a scientist. In microplastic, they have this thing called BPA. Anyone know what's BPA? You know, right? Bisphenol A. And then we have this another element called phthalates. Is that the right way to pronounce it? Yeah, I think so, phthalates, right? So according to scientists, this is what they call a endocrine disruptors, right? Something that mimics the hormones, and then this is linked to diseases like obesity, diabetes, reproductive problems, above all, right? And as future doctors and medical professionals, you will be at the front, the front line of these diseases, right? And then it all starts from how and what are the things that we're buying to prevent this. Okay. So, how does a bank like us, an institution that finance economy, plays a part as a solution to all this, right? I think the first thing is our approach to healing is really about changing or deploying the resources and influence that we have towards creating a circular economy. Okay, I want to change the perspective that banks are not just here to, fund large scale products or even projects, right? For far too long, the financial sector has fueled this what we call take, make, use. Was that the right one? Post model, right? So it's actually a linear economy that creates pollution and waste. Okay? So, and I want to share a little bit what we are doing in the bank that could not perhaps solve the entire problem, but as a start, like what was mentioned earlier. So we created this program. We tied up with a social enterprise. It's called the Sea Monkey Project. Okay, they are a very special bunch of people. You see all these bottle caps here? So we ran a 1 month long campaign. We onboarded them and we said, let's do something with the plastics that we collected. And here we're only just specifically collecting plastic bottles caps. Okay, the bottles goes into another section of ours. But just in 1 month, we collected 26,000 bottle caps. Okay, I want to confess I'm one of the very few offender because, when we started the campaign, I'm a lazy person, right? So every day I would have 2-3 bottles of mineral water, right? My colleagues would say, why you don't want to fill up the water at the office, right? It's like, it's free. I'm just lazy, okay? So, and then when they started this, they start collecting the bottle caps, right? So every division will collect. Then end up, my division, I'm the highest contributor, They come to my room and then say, they take, okay. So that gives me the awareness that I'm talking about, right? So then I start reducing from 3 to 1. Okay? And why 1 already? Why don't you just stop? I say, lazy, because I'm always rushing for meetings and whatnot. Until one fine day, my assistant couldn't take it anymore. I came into the room, I said, hey, where's my drinks? It's all gone. Then there's a stainless steel water tumbler there with warm water inside. All right? So I'm going to fill this up for you every day. You drink this. So I'm plastic bottle free for 6 months already. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So just come back to here, right? So I think the idea why we are doing this is with these bottle caps that we collected, we upcycle the plastics, right? We're not going to go away with plastics problem, not in the near term, not in the medium term. But what we can do is prolong the usage of the plastics, right? So that not more of that goes to the landfill, like what I mentioned. So this is the end product of the 25 bottle caps. It's my name card holder. And we did it for all our new joiners. We have a lot of new joiners, right? 1 year we get 600,000 people joining the company, right? So this is one of that initiative that we do, right? Next, I think the next one we talk about, this is our recycling program. Not your typical, I think even IMU will have your recycling programs, right? We make it a point, we say, come bring everything, bring all your trash, come, I welcome all your trash. Right? Come and bring it in here, and then, and surprisingly, it received a very overwhelming response from all my colleagues. It's like they finally see a savior. They say, I have hundreds, thousands of kgs of e-waste lying in my storeroom that I couldn't do anything about it until you came about, right? And there you go. You see, a lot of this. This is just one small portion. Now there's a few more ones, actually. Right? So to date, we started this a couple of years ago. We intensified it last 2 years. We have recycled close to 185,000 kgs of waste. Okay? And it's recycled. That's recycled. Okay? And what does it mean in terms of climate change, right? A carbon avoidance of close to 200 tons of TCO2 equivalent. Okay? Not a big amount. Okay? The bank generates carbon equivalent operations of about 25,000 tons a year. That's only 200. Okay? But we have ways to reduce the 25. We have ways to go to net zero, but that's not the main point of the topic today, right? So this is the other initiative that we are having in our bank right now. And then finally, I just want to talk a little bit about empowerment of our communities. Okay? If you see from the picture here, in collaboration with our partners, Think City and Green Steps, we will launch a waste circularity program at one of the PPR flats at Taman Mulia. Anyone here stays in Cheras? There. You know where's Taman Mulia? Bandar Razak? Okay, yeah. So that's the one. Okay? So what is it that we want to actually promote here? We actually talk about source separation. Okay, we talk about source separation and community-led waste treatment. What you see here, you see that 2 machines there. Those are the machines that I donated. The banks donate to the community there. And what it does is, you see all these are the people that are staying in the flats, and then nearby they are actually businesses, small businesses. A lot of time they do not know what to do with the waste. You will just throw away. So we gave them these 2 things. They will come down, they will put in all the waste here, and then it comes out as compost. So we talk about composting. The picture is not so reflective because on the right-hand side there's actually a mini farm that was led by the community. So the compost that they use are used to grow for all these farms, used on these farms, mini garden, a lot of things there, purely organic. So I think the social impact of this initiative is far-reaching, actually. By promoting a collective action, right? and also hands-on skills on this. Not only this program reduces the waste that goes to the landfill, but it also foster a stronger community ownership and cohesion among the residents here, right? It gives them the hands-on skill or practical skills to perhaps that would then lead to better sanitation, better living lifestyle, and then it also provides them with a small complementary or supplementary income, right? That will help, and they're actually very happy about it, right? Yeah. So I think these are some of the little steps we are doing right now, and then I still have time, right? Oh, I still have time. Okay. So now this is where we get a bit more controversial, right? So we talk about bank already. So now I'm going to talk a bit about the medical industry, right? So just now I asked, what do we have in common, right? I think, like it or not, I think the medical industry is, you widely use single-use plastics, okay, for sterile and safe, and convenient patient care, okay? So things like your surgical wraps, your syringes, your basins, and even your IV drips, bags, and then the protective equipment. All this is leading to hospitals or even medical facility coming out with a lot of waste. Okay, in fact, you are one of the heaviest waste producer, like it or not, right? So I think when we look at things, we look at two sides of the coin, right? At One Life, it creates a very unique, but also an ethical dilemma, right? Which I keep thinking about. We are healing, we're saving people as medical professionals, but at the cost of the environment that we operate in. So this is a challenge now. Everyone challenge everyone nowadays. So it's professional and an ethical mandate. I think as future medical professionals, I think I urge you all to think about how you can heal more sustainably, right? It's not about sorting things into a different bin. I think just now, Dr. Vivek, you mentioned it needs to have a systemic shift in the way how hospitals or even the medical industry operates, right? So I will give you a few of my thoughts. I'm not sure if it's applicable or not, but it's really about advocating for change. The first one, I think, is really about focus on reducing the plastic at the source. Okay, when I talk about that, is look at the opportunity to champion for reusable, autoclavable equipments. Okay, can a durable, sterile equipment be used in a certain non-critical procedure, for example? Right, I think something to think about. Second, I think we can push for improving recycling infrastructure for medical grade plastics. I'm not saying we're not using plastics, but push for this, right? Many plastics that we use in the hospital, it's called polypropylene, right? Non-contaminated surgical are actually highly recyclable, all right? But more often than not, most medical facilities, they just do not have these recycling facilities in place to separate, to collect, and then to process the waste that we generate. So I think we can advocate for that. And third, I think this one is easier. We demand that the manufacturers that focus on design for recyclability, okay? Because you are the users, you're the consumers of these products. You have the power, you have the influence. You will always have that influence, right? To make something that's more durable, right? Something that of high, high commodity value plastics, rather than mixing all the non-recyclable things around. And finally, I think it rhymes with what I also talk about, to implement a circular economy model for the bank, okay? And finally, I think as future medical professionals, you're the next generation of healers. Your thoughts, your understanding of healing should not be just cellular, but planetary, right? Advocate for that change. Advocate the change from the purchasing department to the operating table. Okay, advocate the change in the communities that you serve, right? Try to educate your patients, the link between the environmental health and your human body health, right, as well. And then I think you can do a part to heal people. And then for that, you heal the people, you heal the environment, and then ultimately you heal the planet, right? So with that, thank you very much. Thank you.